Hello there, good morning, and welcome to News Express, exclusively brought to you by Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. I am Rachel. It's a new week, and of course, you get really interesting headlines on Business AM this morning. Let's jump right in. NNPC's Kyari ties 44-year historic 287 billion naira profit to cost cutting, efficiency, investment. This one is also going to be a part of our conversation. Bullet headlines just underneath that one says, in stock exchange styled facts behind the figures, GMD explains road to profitability, leads to call for a Saudi Aramco style IPO, President commends cooperation, then Silver board commends management. What move will they make? The next headline on the cover page, we have Nigeria's reserves, AFEX pressure to ease on $3.4 billion IMF SDR, $6.2 billion Euro bond. That was on Monday, the 23rd, when we got the $3.4 billion IMF SDR, of course. And we're seeing... we're getting more and more information on how that one went down, and I'm hoping that Mr. Philip would have details of that as well. Quickly into the summary section. GDP shades analysts projection on page 5. You can catch the NBS released GDP numbers. Finance and investment, AFEX Naira pressure, Storm B4 claim. That one's on page 11. Energy, power and renewable section now. You can catch the headline on page 26. No MOSUP green light for OML 11. All right, quickly to the agri section where we have 100 farmers business school. Right, did I get that one right? 100 Naira farmers business school. Yes, 100 Naira farmers business school on page 24. Now bring in Mr. Philip to help us make sense of all of these. Hello, Mr. Philip. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining me again this morning.
How are you and how was your weekend?
My weekend was fantastic. How was your weekend?
It was great. It was great. Thank you. Good to be again this morning to look at the headlines.
Good to have you. Now let's get right to the paper. We're going to start our conversation with the first headline on the cover page, talking about the 287 billion naira profit to cost cutting by NNPC's Kyari. Now, this information has led to many people challenging the chief executive officer of NNPC to push for an initial public offering. It's not the first time, of course, but I think we need to have this in black and white, Mr. Philip. What are the benefits? I want it stated out to everyone, to the listeners. What are the benefits of having an initial IPO? What are the benefits for the economy?
Okay, so Rachel, last week we were talking about the need for debt capital to be brought to the capital market. Mm-hmm. We talked about how the stock exchange, needs to grow and needs to be expanded. And then you have a lot of assets in the hands of government that should be in the market, so that you can grow the stock exchange. We talked about the challenge that the top story last week was about Nigeria having some challenges with regards to what you call foreign being negative, in terms of its between what you have. And then we said the capital market has a solution to what you have is that the NNPC is being a government establishment and being in the hands of government. Over the years, we've talked about how it is opaque, it is not understood, So apart from the size, what it can do to the capital market and to the Nigerian economy by being floated or going to the stock market, doing an currency will become its hallmark, because if you're going to the market, there are a number of things that are required of you. Your books, have to be opened, and this is one thing that is causing the law. So many disagreements that you're having right now with regards to the this historic 287 billion naira profit. There's so many people out there. If you check out the different forums that you probably belong to, the debate is on. For for us to have clarity with regards to this profit that have been declared. Because if you're talking about profit after 44 years, in business, then so there's no certainty about this,
Yes.
So they want to see the numbers, they want to see some clarity. So an IPO, apart from growing the capital market, will provide an opportunity for transparency. It will provide an opportunity for analysts, for instance, to look critically at the management and of the entity itself. And then it grows the economy in terms of you have this what's it called the stocks, trading in the market, and having so many people, Nigerians, getting a buy-in, getting involved, watching the organization itself in terms of what it's doing, in terms of its performance, in terms of its activities. We have 4 refineries that have not been producing for a number of years. We import petroleum products when we are a producer of crude oil. And if you have an NNPC that is supposed to be managing all those assets, and it is not, those assets are not functioning, then and it's quoted on the stock market, then you have a situation where people will be asking tough questions of the management of the organization. So, so those are the benefits of this when you have such a situation.
Right, but is there a downside to this? Because I really don't understand why we have to drag certain policies by the ear before they are implemented.
Well, again, I think political will is one of the key challenges that you have, when you're dealing with what you call this government getting involved in business. We had that situation with what's it called, NET, Nigeria National Telecommunication. What was NITEL later on, and then you had that situation with that with telecommunications. It took a long time before one president came in, President Obasanjo came in and developed enough political will to say, I'm going to let this go, and then that they let that go. Recall too, Rachel, you probably won't be producing, we won't be on this program today, if not, some political will was not taken. I think that was the government of Ibrahim Babangida, General Babangida, who allowed private broadcasting to come into fruition. So many things. When you have these things in the hands of government, is the political will. But within that political will is those what you call rent seekers, people who benefit from having this status quo maintained, So I think that's the major problem, and we're hoping that there's a gradual movement. Thank goodness that we have the Petroleum Industry Act already in place, and part of it is that NNPC is going to somehow get be reincorporated, and then become a profit-focused organization. We hope that works out the way it is planned, and that government particularly gets its hands off this thing. Perhaps not gets its hands off in terms of its investments, it probably has investment, but not be directly, when you have a president as a minister and chairman of the board, that's not good for business, and this is what we talk about all the time.
All right, let's get right into the second headline now. Still on the cover page, talking about Nigeria's reserves, apex pressure to ease on 3.4 billion naira IMF's reserve. Nigeria could be in for a short to medium-term easing of the pressure on its external reserve and foreign exchange holdings and markets with the release of this a special drawing rights, and of course the fourth quarter planned by the DMO to issue Eurobonds in the international debt capital market. Mr. Philip, should we expect, impact spawning as we speak? It's already 1 week.
Yeah. These are the two things that are really putting pressure on the economy. it's an economy that is import dependent, so it needs a lot of foreign exchange to get going. Whether you're talking about the manufacturing sector or the services sectors that import so many things. But government, it has made clear that it wants to reduce importation on different fronts.
Yeah.
But if you have an economy that has been tied to importation for like forever, then it will take a lot of time, to be able to get into place. So what you have, if you have forex challenges, forex challenges will mean that your reserves will be in trouble, with forex challenges in terms of you not earning, So we've gone through a lot of cycles. The economy was down, went into recession, came back from recession, and then you had COVID-19 came and put a slammer, 1 full year almost, I wouldn't say wasted, but what was a downturn of one full year to 2020, that nothing happened. We had cargoes of crude oil, our major foreign exchange earner, floating on the seas without buyers at some point, and then so reserves have been seriously affected as a result of that. Diaspora earnings have been down because of challenges in Europe and in other places where we have Nigerians working to be able to send back money home. That's not happening, the way it used to happen in the past. Yeah. So that's the impact you're having on reserves. Now those impacts are now translating to forex, to exchange rate. The Naira has been suffering a hemorrhaging for a very long time as a result of that. So because there isn't enough earnings coming on, reserves are pressured, you then have a central bank that has been trying to defend the Naira, how has it been doing that? It did that for a very long time, using reserves to defend the Naira, it defended and defended and defended, but I guess like Arsenal, it kept letting in goals, so you have that problem. And then so with this two under pressure, forex is under pressure. Naira was exchanging by Thursday at 521, to the dollar. So many things have happened. So what are analysts saying? Analysts are saying that, well, you have this special drawing rights. Thank goodness that the board of the IMF approved $650 billion, to go around the world, for those who have special drawing rights privileges, so Nigeria's SGR is 2.35 million shares, in IMF. So it's getting 3.35, make that $3.4 billion, from the IMF, so again, the IMF said, this is because we've noticed that reserves are impaired, in many low-income and perhaps medium-income countries, and if we release this SGR to those who have SGR shares within the IMF, then it will help them. So this has come in. So that will help. Then we have a 6.2 billion euro bond plant. The government had put this in the budget, to say this year, for this year's budget, to say we are going to fund our deficit, which by borrowing, so they are going to do this. The DMO has announced a plan, I think September, September, so go to do this Eurobond, 6.2 billion. Now, if you have all of that, analysts are saying that, well, that will help reserves creation, and then when that happens, then it will give some cushion, some easing to the pressure that you're having on the reserve, right. And then perhaps also the pressure you're having on exchange rate and forex situation. Recall, Rachel, the estimate of outstanding, and this includes those who have invested in the country, who want to take some money home from dividends home, back to their home countries, there's an estimate of about 2 billion naira in backlogs, that haven't been cleared. And then you have this situation going on, and this is really, really affecting how this is the whole situation is working.
Right. Well, I guess we'll have to expect the CBN to reduce its frequency of liquidity mop-ups then. Oh, well, another headline I find really interesting. I mean, it's Monday morning. Work is getting really heated up. I mean, Mondays are the most, busiest days of the week. Page 16 of Business AM, the headline here says, the hidden hazards of smart device medical advice. I'm pretty sure 9 out of 10 persons in a workplace have a smart device, have a smartwatch. You know, that one that tells you your heart is beating at this rate, you need to walk these steps and all of that. Well, there are hidden hazards you might want to pick up from page 16 of Business AM. Mr. Philip, thank you so much for joining me this morning. We'll catch up again on Monday next week.
Thank you, Rachel. Have a wonderful day and a good week ahead.
You too. And that was Philip Isakwa, the publisher, Business AM, Nigeria's fastest growing financial and business newspaper. Stay here.